All right, guys, what's going on? It's Thomas with ManHack. Episode 2 here, doing another interview with another Georgia-based local band, specifically from Savannah again, because we are sponsored by Orifest this time. So shout out to Tim for setting this up and making this happen. But this time we've got Nat with the band called Holy Ghost Tabernacle Choir. I had to make sure I said that right. So yeah, he's got about a half hour with us, so we'll just go ahead and jump in, switch over here. What's up, Nat? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm good, man. So we hear you work at Guitar Center. How's the Guitar Center grind going today for you?
It's going pretty well. It's been a very, very chill, what is today, Wednesday?
Yeah.
It's been a very chill Wednesday evening. Yeah.
That's good.
That's it. No complaints. No complaints.
That's good. Yeah. Guitar Center seems like it could get pretty weird sometimes, especially when you have... I've always wondered how you guys keep your sanity when you have this guy over here playing keyboard and he's playing Stairway to Heaven, and you have this guy on guitar who's trying to play Inner Sandman, and all of a sudden they're not playing it right. It's like, how do you, the mental strain it must take, or the resilience it must take to be able to fight off all that stuff happening, right?
You know, you have to look at everything as free jazz. It's just like
free jazz.
When nothing makes sense, it all makes sense. But no, really, I've just gotten really good at tuning stuff out. We also have house music that plays while people are also playing all these instruments.
Yeah.
So it's very, very chaotic, very sensory overload type deal. But it goes pretty well. It's pretty easy to tune out once you get used to it.
That's what I was going to ask next, because as a normal person like us walking in, it's like, man, how on earth? But I guess after a while, yeah, you do get used to it. I will try to read a couple of comments if we can, if some of those come in. Zombie, for instance, says, big ups, Lizzie. Not sure if you know what that's about.
Sure do. So my Twitter name, my Twitter username is Thick Lizzie instead of Thin Lizzie.
That's funny.
So many people think that Lizzie is my name, which is hilarious. Which you know what? I won't be correcting anyone. I will stay that way forever.
It seems like a nickname that you've earned rightfully, so that's pretty funny. But yeah, so I guess we'll just kind of go ahead and start. Get some questions in here. Holy Ghost Tabernacle Choir. It's a really interesting name. How did that name come about? And I guess really, how did the band come about?
So our guitarist, Aaron Givens, helps manage this art space in Savannah that is an old Mormon tabernacle church, and it says the Holy Ghost Tabernacle on the outside of the building still.
Oh.
And so it's where we practice and a ton of other Savannah bands practice. And there's also like a motorcycle repair shop. There used to be like painters who lived in there. There used to be like a small film studio in there. And we just like, literally the very first practice I arrived for, I was like, that should be our band name. And everyone else was like, that's way too long. That's weird. And I'm like, listen, I agree it's long, but if you can think of something better, we'll go with something better. And then no one brought anything better, so it stayed.
That's what it stuck with.
Exactly. The band was founded in late 2019 by our drummer and our bassist, Tanner and Sleeve, respectively. They had played together in a previous project called Heavy Books, and then had also done like a few cover bands together. And they just like were working on some songs together, wanted to go something more heavy. They brought Aaron, our guitarist, in, and they started playing stuff. And then they started looking for a vocalist. And I had just moved to Savannah for the first time. And I had a really good friend who was in the Savannah like metal group. And they posted in there and they were like looking for a vocalist for a project. Influences are like Dillinger Escape Plan, Jesus Lizard, Converge, Oxbow, stuff like that. And my friend sent this post to me and was like, these all sound like nonsense names you've said before. And I was like, they sure are.
Nonsense names.
Yeah. And so I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm interested. And I auditioned like right before the new year with two of them when one was out of town. And then we had our first full, first band. There it is. Oh, no worries. I'll be back in like 30 seconds. I apologize.
Okay, so yeah, guys, kind of a he's going to be back in a second, but it's kind of an interesting dynamic here because our guy is the only manager on shift right now for Guitar Center. So when he gets a call, he has to go take it. So that's kind of what we're sticking with right now. But yeah, if there's anybody watching right now that has any questions for our guy Nat over here at Holy Ghost Tabernacle Choir, please let us know. He's going to be back in a few seconds. I see Shepherd Core. Hi everybody, what's up? Welcome back. Or thank you for coming. Have you been here before? Maybe. Valerie, ex-Mormon. Is that the ex-Mormon church? Is that what that used to be? Yeah, that's a really interesting band name, and I think that that's a good band name too, because when you read a band name like that, it makes you think for a second, right? It's like, okay, what the hell is this about? Right? Like, what is happening here? And that's a really interesting name that they came up with there for that, for sure. Yo, what's up, Orfest? So, yeah, Nat's actually, because he's the only manager at Guitar Center right now, he had to go take a call. Somebody just called him, and I guess he has to go do that right now. So that's why we were actually just chatting with him, but he's going to be back in a second. So, yeah, we got a little bit of info about when, how the band started. Oh, here he is.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry.
Welcome back. But yeah, let's so that's kind of how, picking up where we left off, that's kind of what led you to doing vocals for this band, is you found found this band that was auditioning, and that's how you joined, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was the last piece of this puzzle.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I listened to some of your guys' stuff, man, and it's awesome. Specifically, the one that stuck out to me was that Cal Tools song, with that just gnarly ass bass intro. That
oh yeah,
that's awesome. So kind of speaking on the song and stuff, describe your writing and your creative process a little bit, and then also, how do you guys record? Do you guys do it yourself? Do you guys do somebody else? Like, how is that process from, okay, Holy Ghost Tabernacle Choir wants to write a song. How do we do that? And then how do we record it?
So I feel like almost all of our songs so far have come up very organically. We have a very individual chemistry with one another, where I've never been in another project or made music in the same way that this band does, where like one of us will bring a riff that we've been chewing on or an idea that we have, and we'll be at practice and we'll just come in, be like, hey, I thought of this one thing, and then one by one we'll each just like chime in and just add things.
Interesting.
But sorry, did I cut out for a second?
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. And then Victor made music, and I'd say like maybe 30 minutes go by and we'll have like a solid skeleton of a song instrumentally, and then we'll go back through it, brush up through all the sections. We will check and be like, what can we make more interesting? What can we make more dissonant or more melodic? And then we just like build all these weird sections. I'm usually in the back just like stewing, and I'll be like, okay, at this part you need to just go weirder, or like say something, or like, I think we should go into a really fast part here, a really slow part. I help more so with structure than actually writing anything. But yeah, it just like, we usually finish a song in one or two practices, and then they'll usually play through it. I usually ask for like 3 times, and the first 2 times I will start like writing lyrics that just the vibe of the song makes me think of. And then the 3rd time I'll like start trying to rehearse it a little bit. And then sometimes it'll take a 4th or 5th time to like edit those lines and get them to fit where I want them to. But yeah, usually we're able to do a song from beginning to end in 2 practices.
Damn, so that's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting to hear how different bands go about things, right? You have the bands where it's the one guy and he's the band dad and he does all of it, and then you have It sounds like what you guys do, where it's really a band effort, right? Everybody's collaborating to some extent, and you when you're writing a song for this band, it's everybody is involved from the beginning to the end, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And and then for recording, so far everything that we've recorded and released officially, we went to Scary, who is a member of Black Tusk, another Savannah band. He has a studio called Hidden Audio that's out at his house, out like just in the outskirts of Savannah, and we've recorded all our stuff with him. And then we got our album mastered by Jonathan Nunez from Torch. We got our first EP mastered by Brad Boatwright from Audio Siege, who does like pretty much every metalcore, hardcore, deathcore release. Like he does a shit ton, like so much stuff. He usually averages like 300 or 400 releases a year. It's ridiculous. Wow. And then the single that we just released, we got mastered through Logan Rivera from Jillian Carter. And it's just like, mastering is just like trying to find the right balance and everything. And everyone so far has been really good for exactly what we were wanting for that project. And now it's just like time to do something completely different. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that's interesting. There's definitely a lot of moving parts, it sounds like, from, hey, we have this skeleton of a song and let's get it finalized. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We usually like to hold on to songs for a while before recording them, though.
Just to really make sure they're good first.
More so to just like make any small edits or like, like a recording of a song is never really the song. It's like it is an individual moment of the song's existence, but the song lives and breathes outside of that recording moment. And so playing it a ton of times and finding its individual grooves that maybe weren't super apparent at the beginning, you really fall into a different rhythm with it the more you play it. And so, like, when we recorded our record, we recorded the record in 3 days, but most of those songs we had been playing for over a year.
Yeah.
Like, we wrote Undone, the really long song, in like the middle of it. It's all undone, it's bullshit, there's no wow factor. And that was the first song we wrote after our EP, and we had been holding on to that song for like almost 2 years at that point. And it got to the point where we were like almost tired of playing it, We were like, man, the song is so damn long. What do we do to ourselves? Because it's like almost 8 minutes long.
Oh, man, yeah. That's kind of the position you want to be in, though, where it seems where you would want to have a song down so well to where you can just go to a recording studio and be like, all right, we know it like the back of our hand. We're just going to pump them out real quick, boom, and then we're out. So that seems like best case scenario.
With that 3 days in the recording studio, 2 of the songs on the record we actually finalized, and like we wrote one entirely in studio, and then we finished one in studio. So we still like to challenge ourselves and make it weird and interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, because that's in a completely different environment. So it's like, hey, we were used to writing in this certain space, this type of music. Now we're writing in a completely different environment. So yeah, it seems like it would for sure lend itself to more interesting songs.
Exactly. And it was like when one of the members, I think it was Aaron, our guitarist, when he was like warming up to record another song, he played a riff, and all of us were collectively like, hold on, what was that?
Please do that again. That has to be a song. So how would you, someone who's never heard your band before, right? Let's just say we just give them the name of the band, right? We say this band is called Holy Ghost Tabernacle Choir, right? How would you describe your music to them if they haven't heard it yet? Like, what would you say to them?
So, very contentious subject, trying to categorize ourselves. We've been trying to think of what proper genre to put ourselves in for a long time. And the most accurate one is what we consider noisecore, which I feel like that's so, when you say noisecore to someone, I feel like they're going to expect something that's a lot more dissonant and a lot more ugly than what our music necessarily is. However, there's tons of like like art performance involved in our music. There's tons of like elements of mathcore, metalcore, even a little bit of like death metal stuff when it comes to guitar tones and guitar riffs, and then like tons of jazz influence. And so there's tons of like weird time signatures, tons of changing. Everything just like shifts around and like jumbles together in a way that only noisecore feels really descriptive of.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like it's interesting. But yeah, I would say that we're a noisecore band by and large.
Yeah, and I can kind of see where you're coming from with that, because I feel like I was listening to one song and then it was kind of what you were saying earlier, more along the lines of Dillinger or something, and then you listen to that song Cow Tools, and then it starts off just heavy with this gnarly ass bass tone. So yeah, I see where you're coming from. Let's talk a little bit about what you guys got going on in Savannah right now. We got you said we got, well, it's 7:18 now, so I guess we got a few minutes left. I mean, what do you guys have planned in Savannah right now, or outside of Savannah, I guess? I mean, what kind of shows you got going on? Any type of maybe merch releases happening, or any music videos planned that you're going to come out with soon? Like, what you guys brewing right now? Yeah,
so we've got 3 shows coming up in Savannah proper. We've got Monday, February 13th at the Sentient Bean with Flesh Eater, which is like an art rock band, and then Ether Eater, which is a local like black metal band, and us. And then March 14th, we've got Capra, which are really good friends of ours from Lafayette, Louisiana. They're a really awesome band signed to Metal Blade. And then us and Lobstrosity, which is a lobster-themed black metal band here in town.
Wait, say that again.
Lobster-themed.
Lobster-themed.
Yep, 100% Lobstrosity.
So they wear lobster suits while they play, I'm guessing.
One of them does, and they do have an epic battle at the end of almost every set.
Do they pass out Red Lobster cheddar biscuits?
You know, I honestly love it. It's so much fun. And
that would be the icing on the cake. You go to see them live and you see a lobster themed band, and then they just kind of have a communion bowl where anybody could just dip in and just get a cheddar biscuit. That would be so awesome. I'd pay good money for that.
This is money moves. Yeah, this is money moves. So I will relay the message to them.
Yeah. That's interesting though, man. That's
then, March 31st, we have a show at Lodge of Sorrows with Here's Collective, which is a really wild grindcore band from Philadelphia, and Ether Eater as well. So that other local black metal band that we're playing with on February 13th. And then in April, we're doing a 3-week tour that's not yet announced. We haven't announced it yet.
Nice.
This is like secret stuff. But we're going up to Toronto and Boston, and then back down and doing like a Texas date or 2, and coming back to Georgia, and then it ends with us playing a festival down in Tampa. And then that's pretty much all of our concrete plans right this second. We've got some stuff we're looking at for late summer and fall. But other than that, we've got a merch drop coming on Friday for Bandcamp Friday with 3 brand new shirts. We have a couple new songs we're recording to release as singles later this year with some other bands. And that's really about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you guys, either with this band particularly or any of you in general, have you ever toured like that before or gone that far for music before?
I have personally, and our bassist has, but we just did a 10-day tour throughout Florida, and it was our drummer and our guitarist's first time actually touring in a van like that.
Yeah.
So, and it went really smoothly. We, came back way in the green with enough money to pay all of ourselves, which was really awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, especially nowadays.
Exactly. And so it's all just we run a ship of caring for people around us, and then we usually get taken care of pretty well. And so it ends up all coming out in the wash. And so April's a little scary because it's so much longer, but I mean, it'll be so much fun. I'm so excited. Being on the road was one of the first times where I felt like I was actually doing what I was supposed to be doing in life. And it was just there's no way that I could stop doing it ever. Yeah,
man, that has to be such an amazing feeling. I mean, because so many people get caught up in grinds, work grinds, and we become wage slaves to these corporations that we truly don't want to be at, but we just do it because it's a paycheck. So to actually, I mean, it's already impressive enough to be a touring band nowadays and come back in the green, right? Because I mean, you see big touring bands. I mean, Devin Townsend was talking about this, for instance, about how just incredibly expensive it is to tour. So, I mean, the fact you guys came out on green with that is an awesome plus to begin with. And then you feel the way that you do about it, where it's like, hey, so this is what it actually feels like to actually do what I enjoy doing and what I'm actually passionate about. So good for you. Good for you guys, man. That's freaking awesome.
It's like when I get home, I am in very much that grind set where like I work. Effectively, I work 5 full-time jobs. Like I work so many hours of the day where it's like just trying to get that paycheck and trying to be that wage slave so I can save money and then go on tour without a worry and then have fun. Yeah. And then come back where it's like, you know, if we're including tours like an all-day working event thing, where even I was doing work at some of my other jobs while I was on the road, it's like, you know, I haven't had a day off since, you know, the middle of December. And it's like, it's just how my life is. And that's just like how it goes. But I enjoy it. And I want to do that. And I want to be on the road more. And I want to keep doing stuff like that. And that's what I have to do to make it happen. So I'm going to do it. Yeah, for sure. How much time you got left here? We're looking at 7:23 right now. I think that's about it. Yeah. But,
okay. Well, if there's
if you want to do like 1 or 2 questions, if someone in the chat asks any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Not yet. I have someone in another language saying something, so I can't see what that is. Orfest said yo in the chat, so shout out Tim.
Perfect.
But yeah, if you just want to take these last couple minutes or so to kind of just say whatever you want, promote whatever you want. We've kind of already touched on a couple of those probably, but yeah, if you want to plug anything, tell people to follow this, go to that, whatever it is, tell them right now.
Cool. I would say just keep up with us on Instagram or Twitter. That's where we're most active. Our Instagram is THGTC. And then our Twitter is THGTCSAV, S-A-V. We are recording some new songs in the next month or 2 that we'll be releasing later this year with a really good friend band of ours. And then we've got more stuff coming later on. We've got the merch coming out on our Bandcamp, which is just thgtc.bandcamp.com. We've posted pictures of them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, so you can take a look at them and see what you like. Our record came out in October. Take a listen to it if you haven't heard us before and let us know what you think of it. If you hate it, that's totally fine. I get it. But if it's for you, I'm glad you like it. And that's it.
Cool, man. Awesome. Well, yeah, we appreciate it, man. Would be open to doing this next time, maybe when we have a little bit more time on our hands, but you're a busy man. You're working 5 jobs. So, hey, we're lucky and fortunate to even get you on this right here to do this. So we appreciate you coming out, man. Shout out to everybody in chat that came by. Actually, Nat, I'm going to go ahead and close the stream, but if you'll hang out for a second afterwards with me. But yeah, everybody else in stream, thank you so much. Valerie says, hey, Nat, love seeing you guys in Orlando. So that's cool.
Thank you, Valerie.
Yeah. Shout out Valerie. But yeah, be sure to follow them on all their social medias. The Holy Ghost Tabernacle Choir coming out with new music, coming out with merch. So go check them out. Nat, thank you so much, man.